Okay, I want to show you guys two different cards that are both on the Genesis points list, and you tell me which one is worth more. All right, ready? Here they are. Boom. Okay, which one of these is worth more? I'll give you about a couple seconds. Yeah, I bet you weren't guessing that Rongo is actually less points than Ancient Gear statue. Ridiculous to me. So today, I wanted to go over cards that I think need to go either down in points or up in points or stay the same in points. So we're going to do a little chart, but I do want to make something very clear. There could be a million cards on this list that could be changed in points to some degree. So I just pulled out the ones that I saw from a quick glance of going through the points list. If there's any other changes that you think should be made, leave them down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think are problems or things that you want to see more played of in the format. I'd love to hear it. So without further ado, let's jump into it, and please subscribe if you enjoy. Okay, guys, so here is our little visual chart. So we have the point increase, point decrease, or stay the same. Now, I have some of these broken up into either decks as a core, and I'll talk about them as the deck, or some of these are individual cards as well, and I'll also talk about them when we get to them. Just giving you a little heads up for that. So getting into it. So we have the Automat deck. This deck, if you watch the channel, you already know, if you've seen the remote, or not the remote duel, the Pittsburgh YCS, that it was the winner of this deck. This deck needs a point increase. Absolutely. I said it even before it won the event. This deck is just crazy to me. Again, the card quality of this deck is just very, very strong. And some people were like, not agreeing with me on this. I really couldn't believe it. Not even just Dodo Warrior. There's like other cards that are just like very high quality, and like when you compare them to other cards that are on the points list, it's like a joke. Goblinberg Automat card, I forget his name. Go Goblinberg, or whatever the hell his name is. He's free. It's a free card, right? But Tour Guide is also worth points. Like, why is Tour Guide points? And why is the Goblin card not points? And the Goblin card has a bonus effect when it's detached off of something to continue your play to keep going anyway. It's so appalling to me how some of these cards are pointed in comparison to other cards that are not pointed. It's so funny to me. It's ridiculous. Next up, Branded. I have been watching a lot of Metagames GX, shout out to him, and I feel so bad because he looks so miserable trying to figure out how to get Branded to work. If you like Branded, go follow his content, by the way, because he's one of the best Branded YouTubers there is out there. But I'm not a Branded expert, and I really want this deck to be at least playable, right? Like, I want Branded to be playable in some kind of sense. And from what the sentiment that I've seen online is between him and a couple other people that I've talked to and seen the deck play, it's not good enough to me. I don't think it's there at the spot that I want it to be at personally, at the power level I want it to be at. So I think I want a point decrease somewhere in Branded. Where I want those point decreases, I don't know, but it definitely needs like a little bump. Now, next up, Droll and Lockbird. As you know, Droll has been everywhere in this format, and it is so annoying. I am not trying to play TCG Light Konami. Make the power level of Genesys lower so that we can actually just enjoy the game and not get floodgate hand trapped for our life every time we try to play the game. Increase the point on this card and increase points on the power decks so that we don't have to even try to contend to play this card. Or even side it. I just don't want it in decks, or I want you to be taxed very heavily if you are playing it, at least. I just don't, this card is just not fun. It's just a not fun card. Get it out of here. Dominus Impulse. I believe Dominus Impulse is 25 points off the top of my head. Very, very high, especially in comparison to things like Purge, and the other, any of the other Dominus cards like Spiral. But this card is like 25 points. It's so high. It's higher than Ash Blossom. That's crazy to me. I think this card can go down in points. I think this card, they should put it to like 20, and then like if it's still not seeing play, maybe to 15. I'm just kind of worried if a deck can play 3 Ash, 3 Impulse. That's a little broken. Right now you can't do that, and if you put it to 20, you still can't do it. So maybe that's like 20 is a fine number for now, but I think this card should go down. It's seeing literally 0 play because the fire decks are all pointed in some kind of way. So it's like impossible to play. Same thing with the water decks. It's ridiculous. Now, the next 2 decks are actually decks from the next deck building set. These are 2 things that I kind of wanted to mention to just at least give some kind of insight to like how I want them to handle future decks coming out, right? Now, the first one I want to go over is actually going to be Killer Tune. Killer Tune is, I would say, the best deck in that set. The third deck is a Pendulum deck, by the way, so it doesn't even matter, so that cannot be played. The Killer Tune is a very simple, but like good synchro deck. It's like kind of like Yummy, but like less broken, which I like. I like that it's like that. There is some stuff in it that's kind of busted, and I think the format might have to adapt to this deck. But how good do I think this deck is? I think this deck should come out with some kind of points on it. I think they should be hit in some kind of regard. And I know if you're thinking, oh, Jared, why would they don't want to hit decks like as they're coming out. I'm going to call you a liar because they did do that. They did that for the last core set. Like the cards like K9 Noiri came out with points on them. They have done it. So I think that they need to be on top of their game when they're not stupid. They have employees who test these things, who are designing cards. They have everything. They're employees. They work there. They should figure out what's good and what's bad. They know how it's going to go down, at least to some degree. And I think they should know that Killer Tune is going to be a strong deck and that it should be hit somewhat. I'm not saying overly hit, but just hit somewhere. That's all. The other deck, this is the Fusion deck. It's like Dark Fairies, I think. I don't even remember the name of it, to be honest, but it's like based on fusioning and taking your opponent's stuff out of their graveyard. I actually think that this should just stay 0. I don't want this deck hit at all. I don't think this deck's good. I don't think this deck's good enough at all. I don't think this deck's good in TCG or in Genesis, to be honest. I think that this deck just is like designed very awkwardly, and I haven't been impressed with anything that I've seen on it. If you guys see anything with this deck, I forgot the name of it. I'm completely blanking me. I'll edit it in if I remember. And like, just to put the name of it. But if you guys have seen anything about this deck that makes it seem good, let me know, because I have not seen anything scary about this deck. Killer Tune, on the other hand, I've seen some stuff where I'm like, okay, that's a 1-card line that plays through stuff that can do, a decent amount of stuff. That's pretty good. Next up, Nib. Nibiru right now, I believe, is 5 points, if I recall. And I actually think Nib should stay the same. I think Nib is actually an appropriate pointed card. Believe it or not, some people really don't like Nib. I actually kind of do like Nib to an extent, where as long as there's ways and plays to maybe get punished for playing Nib, things like Odeon in the format still exist. I'm not saying that, and things like Killer Tune are still coming out. I'm not saying that those are great things as examples, but the point is that they exist, and it makes main decking Nib not great. And if you're playing a deck that obviously plays in the Nib, you should have some kind of game plan. It's also a one-hit thing with Nib, unlike Droll, where it's a floodgate for the entire turn. You know that like once you pass that 5 summon mark, you could be playing into this, so it's something they should consider. So I actually think Nib is properly opponent. I have no problems with this card where it is currently. Punk as the deck. This deck is strong. This is like a strong synchro deck, but like it's also not going crazy in the format, which is so weird. But like it's really, really good. Like every time I play against a Punk deck, it's like terrifying. But I feel like I always just squeak out. And it's like just barely lucky. I think I want Punk to be like a little slap on the wrist, just like a little bit. Mostly Rising Cart probably. That card's just really good, or Foxy Tune a little bit more, something like that. But like just a little bit, nothing too heady, like crazy. Just a small hit would do for me. Rescue Ace Impulse. This card got hit. I don't know why. I just put it back down to 0. This card, like this, like a hand trap that doesn't interact with your opponent, that only progresses your game state a little bit more. That is like pseudo generic. Is not that good. I think it could come back to like less points. My only thing that I would complain about this going to less points is what's it called? Vanquish Soul. But this card doesn't even play into every aspect of every deck that it's going against, right? Like there's decks where this doesn't do a lot in, and they're not going to get that draw too. So I think it's actually like kind of okay to be back down to 0. If I think that's like completely fine. I'm not too worried about it. This card was just putting tech in a lot of decks as a hand trap to be able to draw 2 and discard 1. But I also just don't think that like just because everyone's playing a card doesn't mean you have to adjust the points, right? Like obviously that's not Konami's philosophy. They don't do it in TCG. Ash Blossom would have been banned 8 years ago. It's like ridiculous. So yeah, I don't think this like needs to be any points at all, really. Radiant Typhoon, very obvious. This deck needs some kind of points. But the thing that I want to get hit on this deck is the level 3s. Those would be my specific hits as someone who plays this deck. I want this deck to be playable. I think it is actually the appropriate power level for Genesis. I think it's actually the perfect power level for Genesis. But at the same time, I don't like that's getting teched into other decks like Automat. Just as an example, it's teched into other decks too. That's just one example. The level 3 engine is insane. Terratop is worth points, and these are better than Terratop. It doesn't make sense when you compare some of the things. I don't know what Konami is thinking. They need to know when it's like, hey, that doesn't really make much sense if you put these side by side. This is a perfect example of that. Please put these to some kind of points. I don't care if it's like 3 each, 5 each, just something, some kind of slap on the wrist to say, hey, you can't just throw everything in all willy-nilly. You have to be able to eat your cake too. It's insane to me. Same goes for Draco Tail. If you've seen the last tier list video, you saw like where I'm putting a lot of these decks. Obviously, those top decks I'm putting up here. Draco Tail especially, I think, needs to go up here. Like this deck is ridiculous. Again, it's just what it does and how hard it is to deal with for a lot of the other decks. I don't know exactly what I would want hit. Probably Rahu. Like I am just shocked that Rahu is just 0 points. Like wild to me. It's like branded fusion for a newer deck. It's ridiculous that this card is 0 points. Wild to me. But yeah, I think that this deck needs to get hit somewhere. Shifter, same thing. I don't even care. This card's like barely played right now, and I couldn't be happier. Increase it more. I never want this card played because if it's played, it's terrible. There's no good way where Shifter is played and like everyone's happy about it. It does not exist. We saw that in Kashtira format where the best deck was a Shifter deck and it was still miserable. Like it's awful. It just makes you want to play that deck more. And that's just not Yugioh. That's not deck building. That's not deck choices. It's just like you're like sucked into this one void, which is awful. And it never gets to the point where you where you are going to play a different deck because Shifter is seeing less play, because games 2 and 3, at least it's sided, and they're still going to put Shifter in. You can just get game 2 and 3 sacked and just lose to a Shifter anyway. It's miserable. Super Quant definitely needs points. 0 point engines that can do a lot. I think it just needs some kind of hit. That also goes for Art Mage. Art Mage is another deck where I think it needs some kind of point somewhere. I think the field spell should probably be worth some points. That would be my guess. I think that'd be the best option to hit in that deck. And I feel like I could say Midius the Pure should get hit, but the problem is I don't want Doom Z to get hit because Doom Z is not seeing a lot of play, and I want Doom Z to see more play, even though it's such a one-trick pony of a deck. It is getting a new support card in the next set that's like decent. So I would hope to see this deck get more play. The problem is the design of the deck is just so linear, so there's not really a lot to go for it on that end. But overall, Art Mage definitely needs to get hit to some kind of capacity, and Doomsday I think shouldn't suffer for Art Mage's sins. I'll put it that way. Imperm, I actually think Imperm should go down. Imperm is like, I think it's like 13 points right now. I think that should be like 10 to 8 points, somewhere in there. Because right now, like if you're comparing it to other hand traps, Imperm is just seeing 0 play, like 0. It's not even played at all, and it's really sad because Imperm's like such a generically good card. But I don't think it's like busted or anything. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just Imperm. It's just like it's a quality card. And I really wanted this card this kind of like be in the discussion of being played, because right now it's like not even in the discussion. It's like, oh, that's too expensive, gone instantly. So I would like to see this down a little bit to maybe at least get it in those talks. Purge, I actually think should stay the same because of the decks that it can be played in is very few and far between, and it's like very specific. And a lot of the decks this can be played in are already hit besides Radiant Typhoon, which again I won't hit anyway. So I think that it would be nice if this stays the same. I think this is about the right time. Maybe it could go up a little bit, but I think it's fine where it is overall. I don't think this is doing any detrimental damage to the format. I'll put it that way. Valor, I think points can actually go down. Again, when you're comparing this to something like Mourner's 3 points. Valor, I believe, is 7 points right now. I think Valor should be like 5 points. So it should be like 3-point Mourner, 5-point Valor, and then maybe like an 8 to 10 point Imperm. I think that makes the most sense in like what's best in that order. Mourner's the worst one, Valor's the medium like one that's like kind of okay, and then Imperm is the best one by a country mile. So I think that is like a fine spot for Valor at least. Next up, we have the Ancient Gear cards. I don't know why these are points. It's like this and Statue are 33 points. I don't know who's cooking Ancient Gear at Konami, but dude, what are you doing? Get out of here. Like this and like Gladiator Beast are just like were murdered on the Genesis point list. And it's like, why? These decks are cool. People want to play them. Like let them flourish. Why is this so, like why is Ancient Gear pointed more than Radiant Typhoon? Why is Ancient Gear pointed to more than Automat? Why is Gladiator Beast pointed more than Super Quan or Art Mage? Like what? Like it makes no sense. Like what are they thinking? Azamina, I want to see, like, I don't want Azamina. Okay, how can I word this? Azamina to me is very similar to Branded. It's kind of like if you give this deck like an inch, it can take a mile, and that's what I'm scared of. But I want it again, like I want it to be playable. I want this and Branded to be playable, and to some kind of extent, because right now they are. Branded, I'm not sure about, but the Azamina stuff is like it's unplayable. The point system is just like horrendous on those cards. Please just like reduce Deception or Sylvia or Wusiago, or it's just something. Something needs to go down. It's way too high. It's literally an unplayable engine. It's ridiculous. I'm not even saying Witch and Wanted too. Those are also like ridiculously high pointed, but I know those cards are busted as shit. So like, just at least give me like the Azumina stuff itself to play with. This is kind of going to go into like more of like some power cards that I think are on here. Some people may find this weird, but I've mentioned this before too. Delinquent Duo. This card's 100 points. That is ridiculous. Like, there is no shot that Delinquent Duo is a better card than like, I don't know, even like Droll or, you know, anything like that. Like, it's crazy to me that like Delinquent Duo is 100 points. 100, think of 100 points. That's like a game ending, disgusting card on the Genesis point. Like a borderline ban card. It's 100. Like, Delinquent Duo, really? That's the card? Like, I'm putting that next to like some of the most degenerate cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, like Magical Scientist. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, Delinquent Duo, it's normal, unsearchable, normal spell for all your points. No, give it something like the Pot of Greed treatment, right? Pot of Greed's 30 points. Why can't Delinquent Duo be like 50 or something, or Graceful Charity, like where it's like 40? Unsearchable, eats all your points, but it's powerful when you draw it, but it's not gonna, like, it can be like swingy, but it's not gonna like completely annihilate a game. It's unsearchable. Like, I just don't think it makes sense for this card to be 100 points. Same thing with Forceful Century. I think Forceful Century is also just insane at 100 points. You're making terrible comparisons, in my opinion, that should not be there. Same thing with Omega. Omega, obviously the graveyard effect is the abusable part of this card, but I don't think it's abusable if it's like down a little bit. Again, Omega is also 100 points. There like might be some degenerate thing that I just don't know about off the top of my head. I'm gonna doubt it though. Like, this card should not be 100 points though. Like, like this card is the same amount of points as Baron. I think this card's way worse than Baron though. This card is like horrendously worse than Baron. So I think this card could go down to like 50 and still probably not even see play. The pot cards. Pot Extra, I actually think 10 points is perfect for this card. I've been liking it at 10 points. It saw a lot less play. Only specific decks are using it, which is how it should be, right? Specific decks should be using it. Pot of Prosperity. I believe this is 40 points. This is a 40-point card. I think this could go down to 20. Like, this could be like a 20-point card. It's just way too high to me. I want decks to be able to have some kind of consistency tools. Just like some kind. Like, at least throw it a bone a little bit. You know, you're still eating points for it, but like, God, some of these cards are just unplayable and they need some kind of help. And I think Prosperity is just a little too much. Pot of Greed, I'll finish the pots off. I think 30 points for Pot of Greed is fine. Again, you can play 3 Pot of Greed, eats up like almost all your points. It's perfectly fine. Like, that is not a problem. Like, I'm sorry, Pot of Greed is fine at 3. Currently in this format. It's like, if all your points are eaten up from Pot of Greed, I'm not upset by it. That means your deck is probably not too great. And again, if they just hit some of these decks, I wouldn't have to worry about stuff like that. But a lot of these decks are just like a free for no reason. What's it called? This is Ptolemaeus for Constellar. This is the level 4 that can turn into rank 5s. I don't know why this is 100 points to me. This is ridiculous. Please decrease this. Like, it's like legal in TCG. No one's using it. The other abusable cards that are with it are already like points. We can decrease this. I like this card. I want it to be playable. It makes no sense for this card to be so high. I would like it to be playable, ironically, in Automat. I think Automat can use this and be fine because there's no one card line to actually like to get to this by itself. So you can't, like, the Goblin's 2 bodies, the Warrior's 2 bodies, but you can't get to this off of one guy by itself. So I would like to use this card in this deck in some kind of capacity. I think it'll be kind of cool. It's, it's not like if you just end like go into like this into a Pallades, like, I'm not that upset by that. That's fine. Cyber Dragon Infinity is already points, so it's no big deal as it thoughts points already. So they already know all the problems that are with this card. So I don't see what the big deal is. I think this card should be a little bit lower. It's 100 points right now, guys. Like, again, I'm not saying it should be 0, but like, come on, like, you think this card could be 50 points and still not see play? Probably. That's just how I'm seeing it right now. And this card, Rongo, 40 something points, or it's low. This card is low. I do not understand that, like, why this card is even remotely low. This card, this is like such an easy look at it in 100 points. It is like, there's nothing, again, it's one of those cards, there is no fun gameplay coming out of Rongo's existence, ever. It does not exist. It's not a good time. Nobody likes it. It makes the game unplayable. Rongo is terrible. And the fact that this is even remotely playable not only is it like playable, it's playable in the best deck, one of the best decks in the format. That is crazy. And it doesn't even have to play Rongo. That is insane. This card should have been 100 points in the first list on this format's inception. I don't know why this card is not 100. Ridiculous to me. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below, and my kind of like thoughts and opinions of, because I kind of, as I do these videos, I give my opinions on the format of where I think the power level should be. And I kind of want to know what your guys' opinions on that, because I think that's like kind of the most like, that's like the most important thing, right, of the format, is trying to figure out, or trying to read Konami of where they think the format should be, right? Like, what's the appropriate power level that they think Genesys should be at? Because we can only really guess of where I think, besides, you know, the blog posts that they make. So I think that, you know, somewhere around Radiant Typhoon, maybe a little bit less, is like probably an appropriate power level for Genesys to be at. You know, I think this deck is, it's a fair Yu-Gi-Oh deck. That's where I like to put it. Stuff like Madolche, I think that's also there. I think it's a fair deck, and yeah. So that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think down below. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave it down below, and please subscribe if you enjoyed. Other than that, I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.